My kitchen is a disaster. There is dishes in the sink. I'm in the middle of frying up some cabbage. I'm going to try one of the dishes I've seen on YouTube, but I'm also going to make some homemade sauerkraut. The reason why is because it's good and it's a prebiotic. So I bought a big head of cabbage yesterday. It was on sale. I think it was 60 some cents a pound, and it was a fair size one. So I have saved these jars from previous sauerkraut, so I'm going to make my own. So I looked up a recipe on YouTube. I've done this before. I did this before. I really did, but I did it wrong, and so I ended up having to toss it. But I'm going to do it again. Only this time I'm not going to toss it. So I have some cabbage. I don't know why that's wet. I have cabbage, and what I did is I salted it. And what you're supposed to do is put it in a bowl, let it sit for half an hour, and then massage it until you get the juices, right? So I got to take it out of the colander and put it in a bowl because I'm losing all the juice. So, yeah, so let's do that. Yeah, I'm losing all the juice. Takes about half an hour, they said. So that's what you do. You put it in here and then you rub it with, I'm using pink Himalayan salt. Yeah. And I just put maybe a teaspoon in, or it was a little bit over a teaspoon, maybe a tablespoon of salt, massaged it in, and now I just let it sit until it gets a juice. Then I put it into these jars and I pack it down. But I want to put some onion in. So first, you're supposed to slice the cabbage very, very thin. So this is all I've got left because I've got some in the frying pan. And this tastes so good. It's so good. I absolutely love it. But I'm going to fry it up, and this I'm going to freeze for my soups. But this is the only bit I have left. And I have pigged out on cabbage today. So cabbage apparently makes you gassed up, but I'm not gassed up. So I don't know what it is, right? So, okay, so here we go. Let's do the onion. Problem, the thing that I don't know is if I'm using onion, is it going to interfere with the process of the fermentation of the cabbage with the salt? So I gotta check that out. So I'm gonna look it up online and I'll let you know. Okay, let's see. Okay. When you're making sauerkraut, can you put shredded onions in with the sauerkraut to ferment? It says yes. It says, yes, you absolutely can add shredded or sliced onions to sauerkraut during the fermentation to add depth and flavor. Onions are a safe, common addition to cabbage based ferments, often paired with ingredients like carrots, garlic, caraway seeds. Ensure they are shredded, submerged in brine, and kept under 30% of the total vegetable weight. I don't know what that means. So, okay, so these are shredded. So now these, I think these are fairly small. I don't know. Let's shred them up a little bit more. I don't know if you can see this. My cat is like a little watchdog. As soon as somebody comes to the door, he's right on it. Okay, let's try this. Let's try this. I'm not going to be fancy because I'm not a fancy person. Okay, so I just added the red onions and I'm just going to mix it up. It said to leave it for a half an hour. to let it form the juices, but I might have to add more salt. I might have to add a little bit more salt, so we'll just take a pinch or two. Can you see what I'm doing here? I'm literally just massaging it, right? So I put the salt in, I'm just massaging it. Now I've done this before and it did not turn out for me. So I'm hoping to God that it turns out for me this time. So let's dry this off. Okay, so I'm going to leave it sit there for a period of time. Actually, I'm going to ask Google. Thank God for these things. Yeah. Okay, hang on. How long do you have to leave cabbage to ferment in the salt before you put it in the jars? Okay, so it says you only need to let salted cabbage sit for 20 minutes to 2 hours to soften and release the brine before you pack it into the jars for the actual fermentation process, which takes 3 to 10 days or longer. Allowing it to rest with salt allows for easier massaging and ensures enough natural liquid is released to cover the cabbage fully. Let the shredded salted cabbage sit for at least 20 minutes to an hour to sweat and soften. Massage the cabbage for 5 to 10 minutes until it feels wet, glossy, and has released a significant amount of liquid. Then pack it tightly into jars, ensuring that the brine covers the top of the cabbage. Okay. Okay, and it says a tip. If after an hour the cabbage has not released enough liquid to submerge it, add a small amount of salt water. 1 teaspoon of salt per 1 cup of water. Huh. Okay. Okay, so you're supposed to massage it for 5 to 10 minutes, and I did not do that. Yeah, I did not do that, so I'm going to do that now. Okay. Okay, so let's try a little bit more salt. It said a tablespoon. Okay, so let's try that. You have to massage it for 5 to 10 minutes. I don't know if you want to watch this for 5 or 10 minutes. So I'll kind of like fast forward it, right? That's what I'll do. It is releasing a lot of brine though. It is. It is. What I did one time is I went out and I bought coleslaw. And I literally used the coleslaw to make sauerkraut, and it worked so good. But I made so much of it that it actually went bad, and so I had to toss it. Yeah, had to toss it. And you need those fermentation lids, right? The little rubbery ones, and I don't have them. So, um, yeah, I have to figure out another way of doing that. Okay. Okay, so I don't know. I think that's enough. I think that's enough. 5 to 10 minutes it said though, so I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so we're gonna leave it 5-10 minutes and see if it's going to get any more brine than it has, but it is shiny, and it did say that it's supposed to be shiny. So it's got a little bit of brine on the bottom, you can see. So it's starting to see at the bottom right there. Yeah, it's starting to ferment. Okay, so we're gonna leave that, and I'm gonna clean up the mess that I made. And I'll be right back. So I've got the sink cleaned up. However, I want to put this away because I'm not going to use it today. I'm going to use it tomorrow. And what it is I have olive oil, shredded cabbage, and I turned it on a low heat and I let it cook. And it's not completely like soggy and limp. It does have a little bit of texture to it, and that's how I like it. So I can add this to soup, or I can just eat it like that. I could eat it with cottage cheese, whatever. But what I want to get into is I want to get into fermentation. And so there is a channel, Whispering Willow Farm, that does fermentation classes. And I'm thinking if I can get my computer set up so that I can actually do that, I might get her to teach me how to do fermentation. So I really want to do this. For the summer, I'm going to grow my own vegetables on my patio like I did the year before. And I'd like to ferment them. So I have some stockpiled because you never know. So what I'm going to do, I have lots of these jars. I save them. I don't know if you can see that. Yeah, so I save them. Well, you can't see them completely, but okay. So I save them and I utilize them in my cupboard. And that I also have to turn you around to show you. I've done this so many times. I've showed you people this so many times. So I don't have to worry about running out of food or things because I stockpile it. My turmeric, it's important. I want to say something about the turmeric though. If you're utilizing the turmeric, the golden turmeric, I did. And I used to do it, make it into like a jelly, and then I would take a big mouthful every day. But if you overdo it on the turmeric, you can literally feel it in your bones. It literally absorbs into the bones. And if you overdo it, you're going to have sore muscles. So just be aware of that. So just be vigilant with how much of that you're taking. I learned that the hard way. So this is where I put my bottles. And I keep them stored over here. I don't even have that many dishes except for in the sink, okay? So this is all the dishes I have. That's it, right there. This one little cupboard is full of dishes. Yeah, that's it. That's it, and that's all. So today is a busy, busy day for me. A busy day. I had exercises and a morning routine that I have to do, and then I wanted to get this cabbage shredded because it was in the fridge and it was starting to get well, it wasn't as shiny as it was, so I had to use it up, right? And I only eat one meal a day, so I can't do that. So I have to store it. And the best way to store it is either in the freezer or in a fermentation. So that's what I'm doing with the cabbage that I put the Himalayan salt on. And you can see at the bottom, I don't know how to show you. You can see at the bottom, there's brine in there already. Yeah. Yeah, so I've got to let that sit for another half hour. It's supposed to be 20 minutes to an hour, I think it said. And you're supposed to have a lot of brine. And if you don't get a lot of brine, you mix some of the Himalayan salt in a cup of water. I think it said a teaspoon of salt in a cup of water, a teaspoon to a cup. So I don't need to, and I think the brine is gonna, I'm gonna get more brine. Now, if I'm wrong with the weight and how much salt you put in, I'll put the video down below and you can watch it for yourself, okay? Because like I got so much to do, like, you know, whatever. Anyway, okay, so let's close this all up. And I did a little creative project here. I took curtain rod and I put a curtain rod underneath my cupboards. When I move, they're going to change cupboards anyway, so it doesn't matter. So I put a curtain rod and I got these hooks from the dollar store. They're just little S hooks. And I hooked them on there and I just put the cups on like that. You know, it's a lot easier, it's a lot cleaner, and it gives me more room. So that's a bonus. Okay, so what I'm going to do with this, I've had it turned off for a while. I'm going to take this and I'm going to put it inside the jar, and that way I can keep it in the fridge. Yeah. I'm excited about the sauerkraut because I love sauerkraut. Absolutely love it. Well, this is not working too well. think maybe if I used a spoon, it might work better. When I put the cabbage on the stove, the only thing I put in it is olive oil, and I don't even think I put salt in this. All I put was olive oil and the cabbage. Yep. This used to be from sauerkraut, and it was the German sauerkraut. You can buy it at the store. It's the cheapest, but it is the most natural, right? So this is my own now. So this is the fried cabbage with a little bit of water and some olive oil. That's it. I put it in soups. I eat it with cottage cheese. I'll eat it on a piece of dry toasted bread with a little bit of olive oil sprinkled on it. So this is amazing. So I got a whole jar of it. This one is for my sauerkraut. I think it's supposed to be where it's warm. You're supposed to leave it where it's warm. So I'm going to put it underneath the lights, and I'm going to put a lid on it. Yeah, so I'm just going to put a lid on top so that it's in the heat, right? Let's see, one of these will fit probably. Yeah. Just like that. It's a glass lid. We're just going to leave it there and let it ferment for an hour. And then we're going to put it in the jar. Then it has to sit in the jar for I think a week, seven to 10 days. So when it's in the jar, I'm supposed to have a little rubber lid that fits on top of it that allows for the gas to escape. I don't have one of those. I'm going to see what I can make. I mean, it can't be that hard. I could use one of the plastic lids from a margarine container and cut it down to that size and then just pop it on top. It's basically the same thing. It's just a little harder. The ones that they have are a silicone, and I don't have that. So we'll see what I can find. I'll be creative. So I'll see you shortly. Bye. Give me an hour. Bye. So I'm trying to be creative, and I don't have one of those fermentation lids. So I'm trying to make my own. Now, the margarine containers, like the cottage cheese containers, the lids for them are a little bit too thin. So I needed something thicker, right? And it's supposed to be something has a little bit of weight, but that makes sure that everything stays below that, right? In the fermentation process, like the liquid, the cabbage has to stay below the liquid. I know that for a fact. Okay, so I didn't have anything, but I did have these little Tupperware, and I don't use the Tupperware anymore, so it is what it is. Anyway, I thought maybe I could use the lid, so I took one of the lids and I cut it down to the size I need. Now, I was going to use this, okay, but that's too big. So what I've got here is it has to be packed tightly. And there is a little bit there's maybe an inch of juice in there. So that's not enough to ferment it, right? So I have to be creative. So one of my pickle jars. So I washed it out and I made this. Now, it's supposed to fit in when you put the cabbage in, and it's supposed to go on top of okay, so the cabbage should be here. And when you turn it up, this is supposed to hold the cabbage down below. So this it's not quite, I mean, you could say it's big enough because it has to basically block any air from getting in there. Well, not air, block any of the cabbage from coming out so that it stays under the water, right? So this has to be, it literally has to fit Um, it has to fit like right to the sides, and this one doesn't. I think it's too small. So I got another one. And I have these soup bowls. I have them sitting on my kitchen table or dining room table, and they have lids. I'll show you the lids. But I don't use the lids. There's no reason to. There's only me, right? So these are the thick lids, and they're a fair size. The thickness is thicker than, it's thicker than, sorry, I'm all over the place. It's thicker than these, right? So I thought, okay, so I will use that. So I cut one of them, right? Because I don't need them anyway. But I do want the fermentation, so I cut one. And I cut it a little bit bigger so that when it fits, it'll fit the entire, like it'll go right to the edge so that none of the fermentation cabbage or fermenting cabbage will come out, right? So basically it'll be like that. You'll be able to see it'll fit right to the edge when this is up the right way. So that works. It's not as heavy as it needs to be. I think the silicone ones are heavier and they have a little lid so you can pop them out easier type of thing, but it allows for the gas to escape, and you don't want to close this off tight because you don't want to have exploding exploding cabbage in your kitchen. And do you know what, like, do you know the smell of cabbage? It's very strong. It might be healthy, but it is a very strong smell. So yeah, that's what I'm going to do. So, so I made one, and the cabbage is fermenting, and there is juice there. You can see the juice coming, but it's not enough. So a dark place. I'm not sure. I'm going to have to check it out. This is step by step. I'm learning this. I've tried this before. I did ferment it in my kitchen on the floor, and it was horrible. It went bad, really fast. And at that point in time, I wasn't even aware of how to do it right. I wasn't. And so it went bad fast and I had to throw it out, right? I couldn't, and besides that, it stunk the hell out of my kitchen. So then I'm going to put it in the jar and I'll show you the end result. But this will be the last part of the video, is after I ferment it and put it in the jars. Okay, so this is part 2, the final part of my sauerkraut adventure. So I'll see you shortly. Bye. So this is the last and final part of this sauerkraut try. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put it from the bowl into the glass jar and see if my the little lid that I made, the fermentation lid, to see if it works. So we'll see, right? And I did have to make the extra salt water. So I've got 1 teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt, and I have 1 cup of defluorinated water. So I'm going to put the salt in here, mix it up, and let it kind of sit. And then once I put it, the fermentation, the cabbage, I'm so tired. The cabbage in the jar, then I will pour some in, make sure it's above the fermentation of the cabbage, and put the lid on. I'll show you. I'll show you. Okay, so salt, and we'll give it a stir. Okay. So now I'm kind of torn between which jar to use. So, like, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure. We'll try this tall, skinny one. I can always change jars. It's not a big deal. It reeks. It really smells. It smells really bad. Yeah, so it's all that cabbage and just 1 jar of, but that's good because the last time I made it, I made way too much and so it went bad. So one jar is good for me. It's good for me. So, yeah. So, so it filled one jar. So this is the pickle jar, and it filled it right to the top. So what I've got to do now is I've got to press it down, and then I'm going to add some salt water to it, some brine. I am so tired. Just so tired. Okay, so you press it down. So I'm going to press it down with the spoon to get any air out, right? Pour some more. I only had to pour a little bit of the salt, the brine in here. So hopefully that works. So I've got it. The brine is, I just covered it up with the brine. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's see if this works. Okay. Let's see if this works. Okay. Gotta get. Okay, so now I gotta try to get this on top of it. You can barely see it, but the lid, the little plastic lid that I made, it literally fits right against the side. So it worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. So there, it's done. So the fermentation lid that I made, it worked, and it's literally holding it all down. So I'm hoping that's going to work. I'm not sure. I think I'm supposed to put a cloth on it, and then in a dark place. It's supposed to be in a dark place. So we'll see what happens. And this is going to be sitting. They said to keep it in a dark place in a cupboard. The only thing I can think of is to put it under the sink. So what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put it in here and then put it um, yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a cloth over it with an elastic and then put it in here and put it in the bottom of the cupboard. Because if it does explode, I don't want it all over the place, which it shouldn't because it just has a small lid on it. So wish me luck. I got to find something to cover it with. So I don't have cheesecloth, but I do have tea bag envelopes. And so what I'm going to do, it's almost like a cheesecloth. You can like literally see through it. So it has that grainy texture like a cheesecloth. So I'm going to cut two little squares, put them one on top of the other, and then use an elastic to keep it on the bottle. Let's see if this works. Keep your fingers crossed. Yeah. So this is my first attempt. Hopefully, well, it's my second, but hopefully this attempt will work. So this has to stay in here for 2 to 5 weeks, I think they said. So I'm going to put it in here, put it inside the pot, and then in a dark place. Just got to find a cupboard, doesn't have a lot of stuff in it. So, and I'm done. And I will show you in a matter of weeks, I'll get to see if this tastes good. So we'll see what happens, and I shall see you on the next video. Don't be shy to try new things. I'm not. How shy can I be? I'm doing this on YouTube. So anyway, have a good night, and I shall see you on the next video. Namaste.